Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we've decided to make this this episode about movies, a drinking game.
Ooh.
Yes, we have.
Anytime you hear us say anything negative or stupid or do whatever I just did, you're going to hear this sound.
That one's for you.
I'm going to go ahead and take a drink. And go ahead, you finish it up.
All right. That sound means we are drinking. So, pour yourself a glass and let's get recruited into... What is that? What
I thought we were doing the shot thing. I thought we were doing it.
I don't have a shot prepared.
We need to for this
shot.
movie.
You know, fucking keep going. Keep talking. I'll be right back. Just grabbing a bottle of tequila.
I'm not doing a shot.
What the hell's
I'm
everything?
doing a shot.
Yeah, guys, we just started this episode and now we're already running away.
Yeah, John's gone. So I'm in charge.
Okay, so we are a drinking game, people, and this movie's really going to test us here because we're supposed to keep it positive. We're supposed to talk about why we love movies, but we also want to have an unfiltered conversation about this here film to give you our thoughts, our insights, what we think, what we feel, as opposed to, you know, what you might read on the critics where it just gets too technical and crap. So we're going to try to shoot from the hip, but we also are going to try to keep it positive. So we think drinking makes that fun. And so that's our little gimmick here. And John and I are going to do a shot, and
I'll just drink
Dave's not
half
going
of it.
to. And Dave's going to chug some.
From now on, we're going to do it.
Okay.
Cheers, you guys.
Thanks,
Beginning
Dick.
of an episode.
Oh yeah. Well, this is good for the nights that we only do one movie.
All
Because
right.
usually, like, we just start getting loose by the end of it, and then we're done. Whereas last week, we got to do our. What did we talk about first last week? What did we see last week? We did.
What was before Gattaca?
Yeah. What did we see in the theaters?
I
We
mean,
did Gattaca second.
a lot of happiness
Jesus
was before
Christ.
Gattaca.
It's been a crazy weekend.
Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God.
We went to the movie
Listeners,
theater.
we're talking about.
I mean,
we're
Wait,
talking
I saw
about
it in
one
IMAX.
week.
Did we possibly see Nope?
We saw Nope. Yeah. John saw it
Nope.
twice last
Holy
week.
fucking shit,
You
yeah.
saw it twice.
Yeah,
Wow.
Kids, alcohol's bad, okay?
Yeah, don't do it. Wait, John, after we saw Nope, you went back and rewatched it. So your
did,
second
you
watch
guys.
was in IMAX at the IMAX headquarters in Los
was.
Angeles. How was the second viewing?
Way different. Like I know like I'm in the filmmaker land and like I think about this stuff, but you guys, it watched visually and sounded like a very different experience than my first one. The biggest thing that I just want to tell people is that there are two really obvious things. For one, he does use the 1:9 ratio sometimes. So if you have an IMAX screen near you that has the full height,
Yeah.
he shoots 44 minutes of that movie in 1:9.
Yeah.
So of course I couldn't see that at all in the regular digital. But the biggest thing that I thought was interesting, and I mean, I'm working in like a sound internship right now, so I'm a little bit mindful of these things, but there was a completely different tone in the audience when we were watching it in IMAX than the digital one. And I think it's because in the digital one, we couldn't hear as easily like all the ambient and underlying musical moments, but the dialogue track was plenty loud, right? So just in general, people were laughing a lot more in my digital screening. We didn't get as many like outright laughs because there was usually literally some kind of ambient tone or chord happening underneath.
Yeah,
It was
made you
like, you're not
uneasy.
supposed to
Yeah.
laugh too free. Yeah. So it was very noticeable. I was like, wow, this was a different experience.
Also,
I still stand by
I
all
wanna-
the things that we said critically about the story and about the ending, but it was a really, really fun experience in IMAX. Definitely see it in IMAX.
Have you seen the tweet that's going around that shows the character poster with Stephen Yeun on it? No, if you
No.
get that, download that character poster and have a look at his hat. It was right in front of your face the whole time.
You can't say because it would be a spoiler. Is that
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
nice.
But
Thanks.
after
Alright.
if you've seen the movie, have a look at the character poster, his character poster, and yeah, you'll see
Dude,
We'll do it.
something you
I
did not
noticed
notice
on his
before.
Stephen
jacket.
Yeun.
Did you notice his jacket last time?
No.
On the back of his jacket, you miss it because it's that like tacky print, the white print
Mhm.
on his red suit. It's a fucking flying saucer. It's exactly a flying saucer with like wave things coming out of it. And I
Wow.
didn't think about it at all the first time. Anyway,
All right.
good times.
Well, there's Nope,
What did
everybody.
you-
We have an
let's-
episode about
we're gonna
Nope
get
last
to it.
week.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
saw a lot
Next
of
week-
movies this week.
Next week, we can prep you now because we're going to finally see Bullet Train, which means I never have to see that goddamn
Unless
trailer
they push
ever
it back
again.
again. I don't. Yeah.
No, I've seen that trailer so many fucking times,
Right?
and I show up late to movies, which means that they're always putting this trailer last. It must cost more to
Wow.
put the
So
trailer
you get
closer
Bullet
to when
Train
the
then
movie
Nicole
starts.
Kidman.
Every time.
Yeah.
I've seen Bullet Train almost as many times as I've seen Nicole Kidman this year. And I'm sick of it. I'm ready to see this movie, so I never have to watch that fucking trailer again. I'll buzz myself for that. Okay. All right.
right.
So
All right,
we're gonna
Jeff,
have to find a way.
Hold on,
Yeah,
before
sorry.
we get into it, there is one thing we need to clear up because there was a little bit of something went down on the Matt and Mark movie show this week,
Yes, that's correct.
and it was led into something we said a couple of weeks ago, where during my What You've Been Watching at the end of the show, we do a What You've Been Watching segment for anyone who hasn't got there yet, and we recommend some stuff. And I happened to mention the stuff I watched during COVID, and one of them was a movie recommended by Matt and Mark called Psycho
yes.
Gorman. And I posed the question, what the fuck is he on?
Yeah, you were
And
pretty heated about
I-
it. Actually.
I demanded an explanation. So this week on the Matt and Mark show,
Yeah.
this happened.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let me clear some shit up. First off, I was not kidding. Jeff at the end of that clip suggested I was joking that Psycho Gorman was my favorite movie of last year.
I knew he
and
wasn't kidding.
Mark, who is my best friend, will vouch for me. Mark, was Psycho Gorman my favorite movie last year?
I think so, and rightfully so. It's really fun. Here's the thing: is like how you have to really be into those kind of old school, like Meet the Feebles type movies, and it kind of like it matches that, and it's just as fun because
First
Seen it a
off,
couple
It's
times.
like
it's not
92%
going to
on
be
Rotten
a fucking
Tomatoes,
Citizen Kane or
Mark,
like Orson Welles
It
Macbeth.
is
It's a
one of
fucking
the
fun
best
movie.
movies ever made. And it was certainly one of the
Yes,
best
I'm
movies
buzzing
from
for that.
last year.
Yeah.
And I think Dave
All right.
Yeah.
was
Yeah, so
very
here we go.
surprised. So
Plus, we all
Dave-
thought we were going to die of COVID.
We
so,
did
you know.
all think we were gonna die. So I was like, let me just take some fucking movie comfort food. And the movie comfort food I took was Psycho Gorman. So there was no irony there. I was not joking. I really do love Psycho Gorman. It's my favorite movie of last year. I know it came out like 2 years prior because it's like one of those festival movies, and then it doesn't
Right.
get a proper release till 2 years later. But I'm still counting it
Festival.
as a 2021 movie. Dave, how dare you?
How
I think
dare you,
my
David?
only explanation I need to tell you is that Psycho Gorman loves hunky boys, and I love Psycho Gorman.
What a way to bring this home, right?
So Psycho Gorman loves hunky boys, and he loves Psycho Gorman. That was
Yeah,
all the
he's
explanation
married-
I needed. I'm sold.
He's married to a lady, as far as I know, but
You could be married to a lady and like hunky boys.
definitely you're fucking right, Dave. You're fucking right.
We all, I think we all,
Matt
deep
and
down,
Mark.
we all like hunky boys. So yeah, thank you for the reply.
All right, we don't have to
I'm
lean
sold.
into it.
I'm sold.
All
Matt
right.
and Mark, I just want to say, I just want to say, I fucking love that we have like parallel existence with this other pod that started around the time
Who
we
are
did.
these
and we
people,
all,
by the
we
way?
just
Who
keep
are they?
fucking with each other, and anyone who just randomly listened to us would have no idea who we're talking about. It's just like our little
They
group of
sent
fans
me the
that
best
listen to each
Christmas
of us.
gift I've gotten in years. I don't even know them.
Yeah.
No, they're fucking great. Come on, you've been on their show, you know them.
Yeah, I think so.
Come on, you know them. We love you guys.
There's something
We buzz
there.
you all the time because of your taste for things like Psycho Gorman, but
Yeah.
can't wait to come back on your show and keep fucking around. Anyway, let's fucking go, you guys. Let's
All right, so
fucking
we're talking
do
about
it.
the Great Man. So we are so we're gonna try to keep it spoiler free for a little bit. Oh fuck, we have sponsors. John, can you just shout these people out really quick? Dasein is really making a move on the socials.
Carlos Barroso is our beer sponsor. See barroso.beer. Check the show notes for the handle. And Dasein, our artist in residence, writing all the music on this episode and every single episode.
staying at my
He's
house right now.
Check him out on Instagram. I think the at Dasein Musician, I believe, is there. I was trying to shout him out. He is officially launching, I believe, on the 16th of August to all platforms. But anyway, check all that music out for free. He's ready to rock, and hopefully he'll come on this fucking show one time and talk some movies. That guy likes movies a lot too.
We'll try to keep it spoiler free. How do we do this, guys? So we're a gimmick podcast, which means we're supposed to try to keep it positive, but we also can't lie to the people. So how do we talk about this movie? What do we do? Do we?
I mean,
Do we-
this got a lot of
You know
shade.
what?
This got a lot of shade on the internet, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure why, to be honest, because I
Okay,
didn't
good. Dave can start.
I didn't even pick this. I didn't even pick this. My wife picked it. She's like, "Do you want to watch that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I found myself actually enjoying this. I'm like, did people bagging this expect like Endgame 2 or some shit because it's the Russos?
It does have it has a tomato meter of 45, but it has an audience score of 91. Very curious.
Well, you know how we feel about critics on this show.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. And so this
Yeah.
is the kind of movie we should eat up. We shouldn't
That's
be the
for
9%.
critics.
Yeah. We shouldn't be
So-
the 9%. We should be the 91%.
All right. Dave
So I enjoyed
recommended this one to us. So sometimes people who listen to this show, you might not know, but we try not to talk to each other about the movies ahead of time other than agreeing upon what the hell it's going to be. So at some point in the middle of the week, we're like, what are we doing, you guys? And when Dave threw this one out there, we were like, maybe not. There were a couple others we're considering. And then I said, I'll be honest, I said, I haven't heard good things. I don't know if I want to waste an episode and our time watching something that people are saying collectively isn't very good. And he said, you know what? I disagree. I'm glad we watched it. I don't think this is nearly as bad as people were saying. Like, I don't even like using that word. If I made this movie,
I mean, sorry.
give me that gush, yeah. Give me that gush, yeah.
That is not what the gush
guys-
button's for, Jeff.
You guys,
I've been abusing the buttons. I'm sorry.
if I made that movie and you guys went on there and said, John made it, yeah, sure.
Oh, it's back.
There is no way. Fuck you. There is no fucking way this movie is as bad as people are saying it is.
Yeah.
And to that crew of people, I would still ask the question I am always going to ask of you pretentious little cunts. What the fuck were you expecting when you saw those two actors in a poster that looked like that with those two writer and director? What did you think you were going to get? It was going to be a fun, ridiculous, action-filled, glitzy CGI kind of. They're not going to make some gritty indie drama. This was not. Jeff, what's the movie with? God damn it!
No one can remember anything in the show this
Commissioner
week.
Gordon. Commissioner Gordon. What the fuck is
Dark
his
Knight
name?
Rises.
No, what-
Gary Oldman.
What was the one where he played the really gritty British spy thing that he
Fifth Element.
eventually. No, you guys, come on.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yes, this was not going to be fucking Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. This was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I can't be mad at them for that. I just don't understand where this is coming from. I'm beginning to think that like people are going into most of these popular movies with ridiculous expectations. What the fuck did you think this was going to be?
The thing is, like, now it's a case of like these were released by Netflix, so straight up everyone loves to bag Netflix stuff because they, for a while there, they were just throwing any old shit out, but now everyone's kind of jumped on the bandwagon to try and get some hits. It's like, oh, this movie was so shit, and you know what? You barely paid for it. You paid for a subscription. You didn't pay to go in. You weren't invested in this at all. You probably put it on and were on your phone for half the fucking movie. You didn't really watch it. I did.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the fuck out of it. And I'll tell you what,
All right,
if you want to
so-
compare this to
yeah.
Avengers film, an Avengers film has like 4 or 5 big action set pieces. This had fucking 9. 9 major set
The
pieces.
action was on point.
9, yeah. And it ramped up
The
perfectly.
action was on point.
So yeah,
I'm
I'm mad
probably-
about this. Like, people should be
I'm
watching
probably
this.
going to sit somewhere between the two of you because I have a feeling Jeff's about to disagree with us. I have plenty of things that I could be critical about, but ultimately, I wasn't expecting something other than this. So I think I had a decent time. Jeff, what'd you think, dude?
I actually saw this twice because the first time I really didn't like it, and but I knew that it was probably partly me for some reason. I was like, this I don't know. I need to see it again before I'm actually like I didn't want to do that where I see it and then I just like that I'm living with that feeling. And I actually eased the second time I watched it. I think my biggest note for the first time seeing this was that the script was a corpse. It was lifeless. There was nothing that had any soul in a single word that anybody said, with the exception of a couple lines where I was like, oh, maybe they wrote for Ryan Gosling. And it was like, no, they improvised. I thought Chris Evans, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what movie he was in. I just had a feeling that
he
it
was
was
in Bohemian Rhapsody. That's what he was in.
yeah, because I had a feeling, honestly, it was one of those performances that it's like, you got to make your bold choices. You got to commit. So kudos to him for doing that.
No,
I
I,
feel like it was
actually love
I
that
feel like
characterization. I feel like it
does that work? Is that gonna play? And you know what? That's just what the scene where he leans into the guy's face and is like, "You better get it back up before I beat you to death with this keyboard." I was like, I've seen that in a student film. I've seen somebody do that in a student film where they got paid no money and they got bagels for breakfast. But at the same time, they're huge stars. This is what they wanted to do. And the best thing about Netflix is that these people who have been tied to the Mouse House for so long, they do whatever the fuck they want. And Netflix doesn't give them any notes because Netflix isn't playing the Harvey Weinstein game. Yes, I brought his name back up, but people used to think movies were supposed to be fair enough. But people thought movies had to be a certain way. So for instance, like the comparisons for this are John Wick and Bourne. Those are the ones that it's going to get for obvious reasons. And those movies pace better than this because this is like the action comes so fast that at the end of it, I was sick of the action. I actually like when I got to one of the scenes, the fights at the end, the first time I saw it, I just fast forwarded through because I was fucking spent. I couldn't watch another action scene. And I literally was like, I have a feeling who's going to win. I can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
Also, the way the fight came about reminded me of the movie, the Journey to the Center of the Earth with Danny McBride and Will Ferrell, where they're gonna fight a T-Rex, and Danny McBride goes, "I owe you my life. I'll do anything for you." And Will Ferrell's like, "Really? Would you fight this dinosaur for me?" And he was like, "Okay. After today, I'll do anything for you." And then Will Ferrell like gears up to fight this T-Rex. That's what I felt like. And I was like, man, I had 2 hours of action. Like, don't gear me up for another fight. Just fucking do it. Just get in there. But anyway, I digress because
we should point out that Jeff also listens to podcasts at the 1.5 speed.
1.25. I'm back to 1.4 or whatever. 1.2. That's
God
that's a
almighty.
good speed, and it depends on the podcast. Ours does not do well
It's good
because we
speed.
talk too fast. Anyway,
We do
I
that on
digress.
purpose.
They wanted to make this movie. I think a studio head would have hired somebody else to say, we got to go through the script. And that scene with Billy Bob and Ryan Gosling at the beginning, you have to give us a shred of something in that opening scene.
Yeah,
it
that
can't
was-
be so droll. It was so mundane. I actually thought I wasn't going to see Billy Bob again. And so, yeah, maybe the Russos intentionally were like, yes, they became father-son and best friends. And you didn't expect that, did you? But at a certain point, it's like, okay, but if you don't give me a shred, it makes me think that you're writing from a computer. And that later you're going to come in and flesh the character out. But they got green letter. This movie's been in development for 10 years. So I was really confused by that. But they made the movie they wanted to fucking make. Netflix didn't get in the way. No studio came in and said, this isn't going to get any playtime unless you have this. You need a love scene. You need this kind of stuff. I saw it twice and I made it all the way through the second time. So it must have been pretty decent, I guess. That's what I think. How's that for an analysis?
Yeah. No, yeah.
That didn't help at all.
You know what?
The action is fantastic, but it's fucking exhausting. It comes so quick that at a certain point, I'm like, is it just the amulet
Yeah,
thing?
how do you like
where
it?
did this come from? Where did this happen from? Why? What are we
Let's get
running? What are we
into-
running from? What are we fighting from? I like the Jason Bourne things
I
where
had
they
the
have to try to
opposite
figure it out. They
reaction.
don't even try to figure it out. They just keep going for two, and it's so long. It just keeps coming. Ugh.
Jeff,
But
well said. Let's go. Let's go right into spoilers. Because I think I want to join you in some of these criticisms constructively, of course. I'm not
I
getting
want to
best,
be.
but
This is the first time I've seen a terrorist attack, and then we got to see the hospital in a good way afterwards, I thought. Maybe the Jack Ryan season 1, but it was cool that we got to see the consequences of this a little bit. That was one of my complaints with Marvel. We never saw a hospital. We never saw
you
them
never
go
saw
like trying
any
to
consequences.
pass out water bottles, you know what I mean, after they just destroyed cities. So this one ended a gunfight and them killing police, but like it's still.
all right. So let's.
Oh, the
let's-
spoiler
let's go
alert's
to-
on. Trust me, it's
Spoiler alert is on.
everyone on
Okay.
YouTube is
So,
safe.
so I think what I was trying to say earlier, and I've made this comment before, is that there was not a single second where I was worried about anybody in this movie.
Yeah.
It felt very safe, and I think I knew that so early on. With that, unfortunately, if we're going to be totally honest, Russo bros, give those two Academy actors another take. I don't know what was going on in that opening scene, but my goodness, that dialogue in that scene was like, yeah, sure, I'll drink to that. I mean,
You have to. It's the rules.
if there was a, first of all, I don't feel like the rest of the dialogue in the movie sounded like that, so I was a little confused. Like I feel like they were setting us up for a kind of stylized spy versus spy, almost noir kind of like 50s style dialogue.
Dude, it was
and then it kind
La
of-
Femme Nikita. That was it.
But I
That was
mean-
what that scene was. It was La Femme Nikita.
All right. Well, if it was that, they abandoned it. because I felt like it didn't feel like that for the rest of the movie.
No, they yeah.
But also, I just don't know if it worked.
They kind of
so it was kind of a weird.
It was, yeah. That's true. I mean, for one, when I looked at this, I was swept away by a lot of the production, not so much the
course.
script.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because there kind of wasn't one.
Yeah, and it's it's really funny when they're in development for so long, and then you hear that actors are improvising on this, which is great. Find the character in it, but what it does is then there's some times where Ryan Gosling is like sweet and charming, but he's supposed to be this ruthless killer, and so like, it's just it's hard to develop that through line when you have certain scenes that are stiff and dead on the page, and then you have some scenes that are so loose and fun and free. And you know, editing can only do so much. Okay, sorry. I digress. Back to you.
I agree. I guess I just ultimately moving in further into the movie. I'm always curious when people make films like this. I guess I would just like to ask them, like, even in a popcorny kind of movie where you're really, you know, they're not trying to make you question all your life choices leading up to pressing play on that film. I get that. I wasn't thinking about that, but there were so many moments where
I get the feeling Jeff was questioning his life choices.
Well,
I chose this movie too. I know. I'm happy I saw it too.
He definitely chose to see it twice. There were so many moments where the action was so good, and of course we can't not think of the Mission Impossibles and they're competing with massive movies and franchises that have had a lot of formulaic sequences behind them. So you have high expectations, especially when they set a tone like that first sequence in the club, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I guess moving forward, what you don't want to say about a $200 million movie, you don't say about any movie, but especially if you're spending that kind of money, all the money and all the effort is going into all the stuff. You don't want to say, God, there were problems with the story and the performances weren't as strong as they could have been. You don't want to say that. That needs to be absolutely taken care of so that all the things around them are being supported by very believable, grounded performances. So if I'm being totally honest, I totally respect that these guys just wanted to make something that was a different tone and they wanted to have some fun. They do come from a comedy background. But my favorite stuff that they did within the Marvel world, which I understand there's a context there, but my favorite things they did was finding what I thought were very creative methods of subverting dramatizations of character expectations that we all thought were just already two-dimensional. They showed us that no, Captain America
Especially
can
with
be
Civil
dark.
War, yeah.
There were ways to go against it, starting with Winter Soldier and all the way through, you know, Infinity War and Endgame. I thought it was really fun. And maybe they were like, I don't want to do that this time. But again, that safe thing that I was saying, for all of the massive amount of action, I wish I was a little bit more on the edge of my seat for what the characters' motivations were in all of those amazing sequences.
I
so
feel
I kind of couldn't stop thinking about
I feel
that.
like
But
this
ultimately,
was their vacation film after Endgame.
I think so too. Yeah.
It is,
I think
but
they
they
were like,
put
let's have
so
some fun, dude.
They put
Yeah, let's have
so
some
much
fun.
work into this.
They did.
There was
and
some really
like
great
some of
action
that
scenes.
work really pays off. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't kidding. I enjoyed. Like I wasn't looking too deep into story because I knew what it was. It's an action film. It has 9 big action set pieces in it. Those
Yeah,
action
but don't make it seem like you had to look deep to
no,
hear
but
some of those lines.
those set pieces, like those action sequences, were fucking amazing,
Sure.
and the
What
camera
were your
work
favorites?
was fucking amazing. I mean, I really love when he was like handcuffed to the bench, and that everyone's just trying to kill him, and he just managed to avoid everyone. And he's like, "Can you please kill the guy handcuffed to the bench?"
That was Chris Evans'
Like,
best
yeah,
moment in the
yeah.
movie for sure.
Um,
It's like, can we kill the guy that's handcuffed to a bench? Like,
Yeah,
that was
but
definitely for sure.
I think the end sequence, which I kind of that's the thing. There's a lot of the stuff in this you kind of see coming, but when it happens, you don't mind. Like
Yeah.
the end sequence, with the last rescue. I want to say those fucking drone shots. I will always
There are a couple,
hand out
yeah.
respect to those. Like this, apparently they used like it's a brand new drone. It goes so fucking fast. You have to wear goggles. You can't fly it, like freehand. So the drone operator who goes with the awesome name of Steven Blizzard, was doing those, and those big establishing shots where they come in and they spin to the cast. That was not, according to the Russos, visual effects. He flew that drone in and spun.
Whoa.
There were
And
one or two that were really.
I feel like
amazing,
we
for sure.
really know how hard that is to do, especially on a DJI Phantom 3.
When we shattered our
When we
DJI
blew the
Phantom
fucking
3.
thing
It is true. It is true. It is true, you guys.
Yes,
Dave, do
we
you remember
killed the
that time I
drone.
was-
We killed the
do you remember
drone.
that time I was
We had
you and
insurance.
Alex?
Thank
Do you
God.
remember that time I think it was you, me, and Alex, and y'all were looking up that virtual like 360 arm that had been created a few years
Mhm.
ago, and I was just saying to both of you, I was just like, what the fuck is the point in this? And y'all were listing all of the amazing reasons that it could be used, and I just remember thinking like, that, I guess I'm just trying to imagine a reason why the story would make that necessary, and like this is a perfect example where like. I guess I'm just nervous that people like you and me can really appreciate that shot. And somebody who isn't watching for that reason is just going to be thinking, now the scene is established. Do I care about the story that's happening next? So I guess I wish that I was blown away by some of the crap they pulled off with production. Like I didn't know that these guys directed it when I pressed play. I had seen the trailer.
Wait, really?
And I remember thinking like, who directed this? Like, this is really good action direct. I was like, who the hell made this thing? So I wasn't shocked when I found out it was them. But then I was a little disappointed when I found out it was them because I think they've made some much better, just as writers.
Infinity
I think what
War,
they
yeah.
did with the scripts for the Marvel stuff was some of the better Marvel movies of those periods that we've all celebrated and we really like. But again, I don't want to sound like an asshole. This was fine. If you're looking for this kind of
Guys.
movie, it's going to give it to you.
How sexy was the CIA headquarters? I didn't realize CIA was so sexy. These people
All
were
right,
like,
thank you.
oh,
Thank
like-
you.
All
right,
of
so
a
here
sudden,
we
they
go.
had cool
Here we go.
lighting, and I was like, everybody in here fucks. That's exactly what we want from our.
I'm pretty sure that building
All
was
right,
just
so-
used in Flash Forward, the series.
So I didn't want to say this. I didn't want to be the one to bring this up, but Jeff, you already alluded to it. I couldn't help myself. I immediately pressed play on like the Firstborn movie, and I watched 1 and 2 after watching these. Because my only like real specific critique to aside from the everything was fine what I just said was that there were certain moments that when you're so shamelessly cinematic with your action, I think it's more fun if you find juxtapositions to bring it back to a pedestrian kind of feeling. And I think they really blew it with their stuff in the CIA office. It was so melodramatic in the way they lit it,
That was
filmed it,
kind
and
of like
the acting.
that was kind of like the one time I tuned out.
Yeah, it really
The
frustrated me.
lighting
And if
shift
I'm
was
being
really
honest-
cool, and I was like, that's not Langley,
No,
bro.
it's ridiculous.
Not Langley, yeah.
I'm not gonna. So my least. No offense to this guy, but I thought he was in. I don't know what he was doing. Reggie Jean Page.
Oh yeah, I actually didn't even recognize that was him, and I saw this movie twice. The
That
Bridgerton
really-
guy. Yeah.
That really. I don't think it's his.
It's not his
clearly,
fault.
that
It's
guy.
not his fault.
He's a
That's
super
his fault.
talented performer, and I just don't know what movie he was in.
I mean, you have lines which on my second viewing I simmered off on, but they have lines that like nobody goes to Harvard to play football. You did. Oh yeah. You know, when you have lines like that on the page, like you're not helping the actor out. And you know what? I can understand the conversations that would justify that line on the page, but at the same time, you guys are writing a $200 million movie. You're not writing
$200 million movie.
You're not writing a student film. But just think about this. If those two characters are Tracy Letts and Carrie Coon in CIA, and everything else is the same, it's not as sexy, but it's believable, and I think that makes the rest of it sexier. You know what I mean? Like it's
You're talking about performance, right?
yeah. If you just cast them
Because
instead of
yes, dude. I felt like it was stuck in melodrama. Even if literally, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you had just directed them just less,
they didn't know what they
less.
wanted
You didn't
because
say it.
This was even colored like melodrama. Like the
It
colors
was-
were
yeah,
all
for sure.
accentuated.
They did like Mad Men cuts. What are those? A couple of those, like where it goes into like the title scroll, and then later on at the end of the movie, it almost felt like that kind of Mad Men.
I
where they
I
took
swear the
silhouettes
end of
and turned them
that
into-
last fight was shot on a
animation,
virtual
whatever.
stage because no one can control the sun like that.
Oh, interesting. Didn't think about the sun.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that like because they had the sun coming up in the background of the fight. I'm pretty
That was
sure
cool.
it was shot on a virtual stage.
One of the virtual stages.
Yeah.
That's
Because
pretty
they
How many
probably
takes
built
do
the
you have of those
fountain and
action
then
sequences
just
while the
everything
sun
else
is
was
rising?
virtual.
But they have things.
Great that we can do that now.
They have little things like the rewatch of this is going to be for fun because they have little things like when Reggie John Page is in the stall, clearly not pooping, he's just sitting there, and then the girl she comes in and
That was really weird.
I forget what she said. Oh, he misses. He
always
blew,
says-
he blew off his exfil. I don't know what that is, but she goes, he blew off his axe, son of a poop, bangs, and then he's out. And it happens so quick that it's just not human.
That's,
so you could do
That's his
melodrama, but it's like,
exfiltration. That's his escape vehicle.
great. But I'm talking about the actual timing in the scene. It's like it's literally impossible. You can't process things that quick and then react to them that quick. So it's like what they were doing on set. They directed Arrested Development, and Community. Like they know beats and timing. They let that be inhuman, and it's too bad because I'm with you where the action sequences were great. There were about 7 too many out of them. 2 would have been great, but like I wanted a gimmicky way of talking about this because there is fun stuff in there. We had one of the most attractive movie stars of all time, and they didn't sexualize it. I thought that was pretty great.
That was amazing. Like, yeah, she's not
Talking
on the
about Chris
poster.
Evans?
She's not on the poster at all.
Fuck out of here.
I had some friends ask me today at the shop.
I
They
mean,
were like,
he is America's ass.
they were like, "Does Chris Evans take his shirt off?" And I was like, "You know what? He doesn't take his shirt off. Ryan Gosling gives you a few shirtless moments, but." And they were like, "Well, then I'm definitely not
and
watching."
Ryan
I was like,
Gosling
"But he
had
wears
spent
really
some
tight
time
pants."
in the damn
He wears-
gym. Holy crap.
Gosling did. Well, this is his first movie since 2018. Obviously, there's a pandemic in the middle, but he must have been prepping this.
Yeah, so he pretty much built an exercise room during the pandemic, I'm sure.
Well,
They
and
had a weight room in.
did the Keanu Reeves thing where he was like, I gotta make it look believable.
Did
I gotta-
you guys
I gotta
dig
really
the-
do it.
That guy is nothing if consistent. He's a very talented actor. I'm a huge Ryan fan, but man, he was like, I'm gonna underreact
To everything.
to everything, just like I do in most movies, and it's gonna be awesome. Every time he got hit or stabbed, he was just like,
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Think about this. This is the most
Comedy.
ruthless killer. This is the most ruthless killer who's going to be the next Jason Bourne, who had killed one person once.
I mean,
and then he did an interrogation
It
room.
is
and he was-
funny, like that you brought up the Jason Bourne thing, because like if you look at the difference between like the camera techniques, like these guys had like the drone, obviously, which they used to like great extent.
One train. I thought that drone was going right into the train. On the sequence. I
mean,
don't know if you remember that.
it went into a building, and we all know why you should not
that was crazy.
You should not drink 5 beers and fly a drone inside. Like we all know that. But
I'm assuming they didn't drink 5 beers before they.
but yeah, that happened. It's interesting to see like that they use the drone for like certain shots, and then it relied on camera work and stuff. Whereas like Bourne, when they're filming, handed the camera to a stunty on a wire rig and went, "Jump off that building." And it's one of the most memorable shots of the movie. Like the Jason Bourne jumps off the roof, and the camera jumps off the roof after him.
And where it goes in, he goes into the water, and then he.
Ultimatum.
That's when he goes through
it's
the window.
Ultimatum, the
Yeah.
middle of the movie. fight.
Oh my
Ultimatum,
gosh, yeah.
when they really got creative. That was the first time they ever built a camera rig that led into a
stunty
wreck
could
as
wear.
well. So the cameras
Oh, wow.
the camera's actually on the front of the car leading into the wreck. That's a
that's
daring
cool.
fucking camera operator, I can tell you that.
Did the camera make it?
Yeah,
Jesus.
the guy's dead, but the camera was fine.
I mean, that's the thing.
No.
Yeah.
I guess I just want to ask
know.
him, like,
Dave, your back is out because of cameras. You saved the cameras. It cost you a back.
I'm just trying to imagine, guys. I'm going to put us in our proverbial writer's room as I always do. The three of us are sitting there saying, "Look,
They
let's
didn't
tell a
have
story."
one. This is the only problem with Netflix. They brought in Stephen McFeely, who also won an Emmy for writing something about some Steven Sellers movie from 2004. A little dated, I would say. Sorry, Johnny, you have your point. But the point
no,
is,
no, you're good.
if an actual studio would have said, this is a great movie, can we please just hire a comedian to like give this some life? Can we please just hire a playwright or something to just give it a little bit of life? Sorry, back to you, John.
No, you're good, man. Because I'm just trying to imagine a scenario where we're writing this kind of story and we can list, multiple franchises that are awesome that have similar kinds of characters, and I guess I would just want you guys to hold me accountable to, if we're not going to go too serious like some of the heavier tonal Mission Impossibles or the Jason Bournes, and we're not going to go too lighthearted like some of the 80s Schwarzenegger, some moments of I don't know, some of the lighter, like middle of the road James Bonds. I guess I would want you guys to tell me, like, we got to go one way or the other, dude. Like, we got to pick which movie we're going to make, because I think they very consciously said, no, we're not doing serious. We're not going to try to be Mission Impossible. We don't want to do that. Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise are on a roll. Let's not even fuck with it.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do that and you're going to direct Chris Evans to be like, go big, this is ridiculous. Then I just wish the whole movie was more shamelessly comedic.
Like,
Because I think if
be
it was
the villain, Rami
funnier
Malek should have
and
been
it had
in
all
Bond.
that stuff,
Rami
oh,
Malek.
come on. Yeah.
I think. Well, I'm with you because it seems like Chris Evans, like a part of him, really wish he was Steven Sellers in this. And I'm not just saying that because I just mentioned Steven Sellers from the other writer, but there were times where he walked in and he was like picking his nose with his gun and then like murdering somebody. Where it's like, does he think this is funny? Because it's not serious. But like I don't know where, I just don't know where he was landing. Because the idea of everybody else is serious, so therefore I can be loose. I mean, that's been half the
felt
Bond
like-
villain,
I
so
felt
it's
like
not new.
That was his thing, though. It was like you didn't know which way he was going to react in any situation because
There's a difference.
he was completely chaotic.
There's a difference between a choice and pulling it off. And chaos for chaos' sake can only get you like 5 minutes.
Did
Unless
you
you're
guys
Heath Ledger.
see? Did you guys see?
No,
I'm gonna-
because he was very tactful. I would. We can spend a whole episode on that. But anyway.
Yeah.
I don't want to compare this too much, but I just thought it was a successful example of what Netflix was doing with a monster budget movie.
Yeah,
Did
they
you
were
see
giving
Red
them money
Notice?
and getting out of the way. No, Red
Did you-
Notice is the other $200 million movie.
So it's the other big one. So we got Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot,
Yeah.
and I thought that one was more.
I actually never watched that.
You know
I don't
what?
think.
Watch it and let me know what you think. I'm not
Oh, wait,
saying
yes,
it was
I did.
like a
Yes,
really,
I
really
did.
great film.
I enjoyed this
but I
more.
thought it was. You enjoyed this more,
Dave for
okay.
forgetting he watched Netflix's other $200 million movie. The same budget as Titanic.
I don't know. I guess there were just moments where I kept feeling myself being like, I just kind of wish they would go one way or the other. Let me get excited about the comedy or let me get invested in the drama. Just pick one, please, so I could actually care a little bit more. Because I thought the things that were happening to them were dramatic, but then they would have a line or cut away, and it wouldn't just be like a fun movie line. It would be intentionally like they wrote a joke. And I was just confused. Like, you never want to hear people writing jokes. You know what I mean?
You
If
know
it
what I would
doesn't
have
come
been.
out of character, then
You know what I've been. We got to turn this back to the positive because I think people get it.
I mean,
you know what you know what I wish they had a little bit more of. I just wish they had more of a chase. Because it was always they go there and then people find them and then they blow up and there's a huge thing.
I mean,
and then they go
there
there
was
and
at
then people
least
find
one
them and they
chase,
blow
'cause
everything up.
I
And then they
re-
go there and they blow everything.
I rewound
I
one of
just
those
wish-
shots because
Just wish one time they just got away without anybody having to
Hold on,
murder
hold on.
police officers. You know what I mean? Just
Dave,
like
what'd you say?
There was definitely a chase because I rewound one of those shots where like they went into the chase with the drone and I was like, did they just fucking zip that thing sideways?
you're
and-
missing my point. I mean, without action, without murdering, without death, without destruction, a thing where they're moving and then
No.
in the car, with the exception of the one time they go to Prague to meet that woman, and then guess what? People show up and blow it up, and it's like Jesus Christ. I wish there was one moment where they could be like, okay, now that we have a second, can you tell me what's going on? And then they like threw in the back. I can't keep doing this. They threw in the backstory line, which was so. I know they've been setting it up, but like that little.
I know.
Anyway,
this is the last thing I'll say before we go. Let's bring it back to being positive.
I know.
Gesture.
I know.
want
I'm
to try
sorry.
to-
I'm trying.
No,
I'm
it's okay.
not trying, but I
wanna
wish I
try-
was trying.
I'm trying
Hey,
to
I've
put,
had
I'm trying
worse
to put
than you.
myself. I'm trying to put myself in the headspace of these two dudes who are thinking we have an enormous amount of money and a big responsibility. When you're making a movie that big, you can't help but think like people are going to watch this. We're going to influence some people's entertainment lives. Like we just came off of a pandemic. I can get why they were scared to go too dramatic with it. I totally understand why they were like, I don't know
Yeah.
if we want to make a super down and
Yeah, that's
gross
fair.
and serious movie
I
about
agree with that.
it's depressing. We're
Then
gonna
why did
kill
they
a bunch of
greenlight
people.
this script?
But if you're gonna greenlight this script, problem solve and make it really funny. All right, number one performance in the movie, Danush.
Danush,
That guy
everybody's talking about it.
fucking
Yeah,
killed it, dude. He
He's
was
apparently a
like,
huge Indian
that guy's
actor,
in the
yeah.
movie that I want to see. That guy
Yes.
is in. He was living inside of this place that I was like, everybody just play off of him. I don't know.
Wait,
You know, sometimes people get lucky, but I
he's the
think
one
he
who
just
he's the
fucking
one who
nailed it.
got the necklace, and at the end was like, you know what, I don't even want it, and walked away in the middle of a fight, which on
Yeah.
on paper seems ridiculous. They almost killed each other, but since they didn't, fuck it, no money. Here, take this, and I'll just leave. And it's like that should have been ridiculous, but he pulled it off. And then Ana de Armas is just watching, like, what the fuck did he just do?
Yeah,
and it was a great moment. You're right.
I
John.
want to see more of that, and I'm wondering, is
Yes,
he going to be a central figure in the second one, which is now being
He should.
greenlit?
Good or bad. I love that. You leave, but you don't know which side he's going to be on. It's cool.
Yeah,
I totally thought he was going to join them. Yeah, their last fight was really fun. I wish I didn't. I wish I wasn't going to be saying this, but I totally believed her action. But character-wise, I don't know. I kind of just felt like Ana de Armas was you know, anybody could have played that. Like she's really good. She's super
Mm.
talented. I'm not saying she's not talented, but I don't feel like there was anything scene work wise that made me think like that's why she gets paid the big bucks. Because the stunt double
Yeah.
did most of that work. We know that.
They used
So,
her
like,
about as
what is
well as
she-
they
you
used
know.
Black Widow.
I'm with you.
Whereas,
Yeah.
whereas we saw her do amazing things
Bond.
in Bond.
In such
that
a
made us
small
think,
role.
ooh, shit.
Stole
What
the
is she- is that
stole the
you know?
fucking film. She was in it for
It
10
had
minutes.
three-dimensional. She was
Yeah.
funny. She pretended to be kind of clumsy, but she was actually fucking. She was more badass in that than this. I mean, she was awesome in this, but there was also a time where she had to put Ryan Gosling in the trunk, and they didn't know what to do. They didn't direct the scene, so she just like tapped him with a gun, and he like fell backwards, and his legs were still hanging out, and they just cut away. So like you know,
So I'm
she
sad-
didn't. She
so I'm
didn't really have
sad-
any help.
I'm sad to say this because like this would be like my worst fucking nightmare if anybody ever said something about a movie that I spent like 4 years developing and making. But the line that keeps coming back to me is just another Thursday. And part of me thought when I finished this movie, just another Netflix movie.
Yeah. Good
You
point.
know? Like, and I'm sorry to say it, but like the significance, you know, and this is not about drama versus comedy. We
Yeah.
have seen comedies that are like, whoa, that's a touchstone. They really did something special. We, you know, Die Hard, they're amazing action comedies. And I kind of just felt like, Jake, you couldn't even remember seeing Red Notice, $200 million movie.
Yeah.
It's like I can't, oh my goodness.
And Ryan
So,
Reynolds. I love that guy.
Yeah.
And Ryan.
Well,
and
but to be
Dwayne.
fair to you though, if you directed this movie, you would have seen that opening scene with an A-list movie star and a former A-list movie star, Academy Award winner, and it's you know you only have 2 minutes to make a first impression, but you also know it sets up your whole movie, and there's no way that that's what you walk away with. There's no
Guys,
way.
I would have sent
You
you,
would've
that
said Billy
scene.
Bob-
I would have been like,
You
I
would
would
have
have
said
sent
you
you
would
that
have said
scene,
that
and I
to
would have
Billy
said,
Bob and Ryan Gosling, and you would have said, guys, what movie are we making? We have to decide right now.
gotta do better than that. Yeah.
Right now, it can't be nothing.
You would have sent
It's
me
either
that
funny,
scene, and I would have given you notes, and you wouldn't have talked to me for 2 months.
It's either we know we know
wait,
he's
man,
going to be your
no.
dad, and it's going to be like a buddy movie where the two best, like the two, you know, the mentor mentee are going to be trying to get back together, or it's going to be an intense action like Mission Impossible 3 or something. Like it's going to be, it has to be one of
I
those.
don't
It
think
can't just
anything could be as tense as Mission Impossible 3.
Well, great. Well, so we got to
Yeah.
we have we had to shoot for the stars.
There's a benchmark.
Land on the moon or whatever the fuck. Like go. You gotta choose that opening scene. They had not chosen yet. I'm sorry.
What's Simon Pegg's character's name again?
No, Benji. Benji. Yes.
That's an excellent throwback.
Oh man, no.
Look, we have to talk about other good
think-
things. We have to talk about other good things about the movie. Got to do it.
I really liked. I don't think the introduction of Six. I really did love that club scene at the beginning.
Mm.
I didn't like the prison scene. I totally agree with you. The intro sequence was like fun and flashy. I was like, all right, whatever. I hope it's not going to be only that. And then the club scene was cool. The introduction to Six, mostly the action. I don't know if I loved the little exchange at the beginning with him and Ana de Armas. You wear that suit. You're a real fly on the wall. Yeah, you too. I was like, all right, God, is it going to be like this the whole time? But then once he started moving, I felt John Wick vibes. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is really beautiful production design. I'm believing every muscle in Ryan Gosling's body. Like I'm believing everything he's doing. I'm enjoying, you know, the CIA looking at him and him starting to set up this idea of like, okay, he's going to go rogue in just a little bit. This is happening. And I really liked Callan Mulvey, the dude who played the first
4.
guy, the
number
four. He was fucking awesome. And their exchange, I also thought was like, okay, this is a little light
was
at
great.
the beginning,
That was
but
great.
I think we're going to get more and more and more dramatic. So I really, really
then
enjoyed
they
how they
didn't.
began with that sequence.
I think I'm gonna be quick and I'll send it to Dave. I think one thing I really liked was the use of like TKO in this, where somebody who knew that they were dying. Like I love when Ryan Gosling got 4 right in that one spot. They didn't drag it out. It was like they knew it's over. You win. I'm dying. I got 2 minutes. This is what we're gonna do. I feel like they used that really well for a spy thriller. Like especially every single time, whether it was we're in spoilers, right? Alfre Woodard, who we haven't mentioned yet. She had a very small role, but she was great. Billy Bob for when they knew that they were succumbing, I feel like they played those moments really well.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, lighten this up. What do we got?
I mean, I went into this with zero expectations. So I was like, what are the Russos going to throw? I'd heard some bad things, but I was just like, let's just put this on. And if you want to put something on and just tune out and watch some cool stunts, explosions, shots,
True. It's true.
you don't want to think too much because a lot of people don't right now. This is your fucking movie. Like if you just want something
It
that's going to
totally
relax
is.
your brain for
I have a question.
It totally is.
Actually-
And I guess I'll just
Sorry.
say to that, the only thing that makes me nervous about that is that everyone, including Netflix probably, which is I'm assuming this is why they are resisting putting even their biggest movies in theaters now, the risk of losing money. It just makes me nervous that they are programming us into thinking that that's okay.
They're,
Yeah, that's
they're not
exactly,
making a
this is
movie
they're
like
not
that.
exactly what I
resisting
was
putting
saying.
their stuff
And
in
just say,
theaters. They
like-
bought their own theaters and they're putting them in on the West Coast, so they're
I know,
Academy
but
qualified.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There-
I
there's-
keep laughing. I keep laughing at the shop. They're working on tons of shows all the time, and a lot of them are Netflix originals. And I keep joking about how one day I think I'm going
My-
to be very lucky
okay.
to eventually direct the "You May Also Like" movie. That's what
Well,
I'm calling them.
my,
You may also like.
My counterpoint to that is Netflix has always done that.
Yeah, but they also are struggling
Well,
now. They need
and
to.
sometimes
they
they've
need to keep
done it a lot
reinventing.
worse.
I would say no. No, hold on. I'm going to say no to that only because that's true with the series to a certain extent. Oh, no, I'm not even going to say that.
Yeah.
Their first series was fucking House of Cards and Orange is the New Black, which I didn't love as much as everybody else. But those
Yeah,
are
the
two
series
really
were
good
great,
series.
but when they started making movie production, it was
Oh,
just,
come on.
let's just
Dude,
throw
their
anything
first
out.
movies, they really put their weight behind were Okja and then Roma
I didn't
and
love
The
Okja.
Irishman. And
No, they
cool.
bought those.
Yeah, they bought those. It's true. They had studios were already
really, I
behind
thought
those
they
movies.
I thought they signed distribution sales with them before they made those movies.
No,
they
those
didn't
were already made.
produce them, but they signed
Roma-
distribution.
Roma
They
was
were
already
all
made.
in. They were all at least. Roma was already made. They were all at least in pre-pro with other studios, so they already had funding to get them going and develop and stuff. I think.
I think they signed distribution with them before, but
I'm with you. I'm with you to say that quality has to continue to matter. Of course, I think people have been listening to me and know that. But the one thing about what Dave's saying, though, which I am curious about, though, which is different from the Marvel movies. It's different from comic book movies. No matter how humanistic and how many, I don't know if that's a word, how realistic they make those movies. They're still comic books, and there's still people that are godly. They're not real. They have traits that, as far as we know, don't exist here on Earth.
And ridiculous, like Greek accents.
There's a there's a lot of very realistic, mindless, numbing murder that happens in this movie that is just so Chris Evans can get his way. He sends people into squares and just says, murder women and children with machine guns. Who gives a fuck as long as I can get my way? And so part of me is actually hoping that people don't want to watch these movies anymore. You know, and I'm not saying that I'm putting down action movies, but when they're so unmotivated as this, when the action, getting that little drive is so important to Chris Evans because he's a winner and he went to Harvard, go fuck yourself. Like thousands of people died in this. And I do hope as a culture and as a society, we would rather see a drama in which emotional things happen than turn on a mindless murder movie and just have it on while
That's
things
fair.
are getting blown up and
That's
murdered.
fair.
Just because these aren't just contract killers, but although after a certain while, I'm kind of like, well, are these contract killers okay? Do they have families? Because they're all getting murdered. Police officers in Prague are getting murdered.
Nobody
just for
thinks about the
being
henchmen.
police officers.
which again is so it's so weird to me that I thought the Russo brothers had like planted their flag when they started with Winter Soldiers. They're going to be the guys who make movies like that and then subvert it. They're going to turn that key and make you think, isn't this a little fucked up that you're having so much fun, audience? And I thought they were going to do that.
And
with
maybe they
this
wanted
and-
that. Maybe
yeah,
maybe
whatever.
at the end when the CIA, whatever, when I don't fuck their names, I don't care. When they destroyed the evidence to be like, we murdered all these people, it was our fault, it was America's fault, and we're gonna get away with it, and we're gonna double down in the
Yeah,
future.
that,
Maybe
one conversation outside the headquarters, I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, that's a little mean.
And maybe that was the whole movie. Maybe
Yeah.
they circled that and we said, we want people to understand that America's doing this. And maybe they left that set that day and they said, yes, we're doing good. But it just didn't land, you know. After I don't know. I can't help. Fuck, I can't help with this movie because you're
Totally
right,
agree.
Dave. You're right.
I
There's
know.
amazing things that happen in this movie.
Yeah, but
I
the
think it's
script
a
is
little
not one of them.
exploitative. The script is not one, and it's a little exploitative. And the murder of innocent people. John Wick would never have said
We're gonna have to check the buzz numbers because we might have beat Frozen this time around.
It was rough. I still think that most of you out there, if you're looking for something like this, you'll probably be with Dave and I. That it's fine. You know, I think you're going to have a decent time watching it, or a good time watching it. If you're looking for a more significant experience, I would not watch
Wait.
this.
I'm with you though, because I really like the train sequence and There's so much stuff that I liked, believe it or not. When they went in the maze,
I don't believe it.
When they went
I
in the
don't
maze,
believe you liked it.
I love when he Buffalo Billed. He had a Buffalo Bill bunker and he flooded it out, and then he had a bomb. That was all pretty fucking clever. I
That
loved
was
it.
really cool.
I love when he dropped the
Well, I
grenade.
liked that
and
guy
Chris,
a lot too.
that guy was great.
The
He didn't
photographer,
need to
yeah.
die. It was stupid. Was that the guy from Coda? It looked like the guy from Coda.
Thank you. God damn it. I was like, where
Was
had I
it?
seen that guy from? He was the music teacher from Coda.
It was him, right? Let me look at his
It's
name.
got to be. It's
Um,
got to be. I'm looking him up right now. I can't find him.
It might not have been, but it might have been. Okay. Anyway,
No, I think you're right.
what else did I love about? Oh, but you're telling me when they went in the maze at the end, you weren't like, oh fucking hell. You're telling me like,
Elizabeth,
I was
Elizabeth
waiting for someone
literally
to
was
bust
like,
out an axe. Yeah.
when they started dragging him that way, Elizabeth was sort of like, tell me there's not a fucking maze. And she, like, immediately
and then
just
Ana
panned
de
up and
Armas is
over.
like, Ana de Armas is like, I could kill him right now. And everything I knew about Ryan Gosling is that he just was like, let's be done with this. Let's move on. I'm bleeding out. And instead he was like, no,
Thank you.
we need to face
Jeff,
this in
ready,
person.
ready,
I was
ready?
like, no.
This was- this-
This
I
would have
was-
been a
I was
Ryan
in-
Gosling would
I
have said,
agree.
can you
This-
please just end this?
This would have been a far more effective movie if they'd lined up for the fight and she just capped him.
Especially
Thank
knowing
you.
that we had the
Thank you,
final
yes.
sequence at the end.
Yeah.
Because by the time we get to the final sequence, I'm like, well, he's not going to die now. Like, so he just murdered people.
Because
Anyway, I'm sorry. I
endings-
can't help myself.
Endings fucking matter. They're the punctuation to the film, and all the iffiness about whether or not it was supposed to be funny. If they had just shot him after they built up this huge
Yes!
The
moment, I would have
Indiana-
been like,
the Indiana
"Wow,
Jones
I know what
ending.
movie this is."
We
It
know
would
it
have been
works.
100%.
really good. It just went a whole other way, and I just felt like now they're just manipulating us. They just want to watch these two guys fight, and
Yeah.
I just
and
don't
use
know if
their
you've earned
virtual
it. I
set.
just don't know if we care. And you just missed a really funny moment. It was just a missed
Yeah.
opportunity. I think everybody was ready to laugh at that.
You could have cut down to 8 action sequences. We would have been fine.
Shoot him in the
And he-
arm
they
and have
totally
him,
set
shoot him in
her
the
up.
stomach and have him like die funny. You know what I mean? Like have him die and like complain and be like, oh,
Okay.
after all that, whatever. I don't give a shit.
A
Just,
gut
like,
shot
end
is
it.
not funny. Just saying.
Yo, her
That shit
sequence.
It's funnier than the
Her
other shit
one-
though.
her-
There's so much in this movie
her
hurt.
fucking,
They pulled Billy Bob's
fucking-
fingernails off.
That was pretty good. Her, Tom Hardy in Inception, one man band with a fucking grenade launcher attacking the building. That whole sequence was badass, dude.
Yeah.
She never missed.
But you took
That
a
was
fucking helicopter
incredible.
down?
That was fucking sick,
When
dude. That was good.
Suzanne-
And I
Suzanne-
did really enjoy Chris Evans' reaction when it came past him and he was like, and he like turned and started shooting because he just fucking loved almost getting his head blown off. I thought that was like, that's what I wanted the whole movie to feel like.
Yeah.
Just like that, like ridiculous spy versus
I
spy.
kind of wanted. I would have liked Chris Evans to also see more shit happen and be like, "Holy shit!" Like even if it was against him, to be like, instead of being like, "Well, that was unexpected," to be like, "Holy shit, that was," you know what I mean? Almost impressed. I could have used some more like impressed by him.
Fair.
Like, oh my god, I have to do better.
Sure.
I'm not giving them advice. These people
All right.
are much more accomplished than me.
I think we've gotten the point across.
Do you think?
Do we wear it
Do
out?
we need to clarify anything for our listeners?
I don't think we can.
I'm sorry,
We're-
Dave. You like the movie
We're as
better. I didn't mean
convoluted
to-
as this film was.
I didn't mean to try to bring this down so much. I know you like the movie. I don't want to be this way.
I mean, I
That's
had
it.
fun during this movie. There's a difference. Am I going to watch it again? No.
I would have had fun watching this with you.
Yeah, because I bring
Honestly,
a six pack
I
of
could watch
9%
this
beer.
movie again.
You guys got to see
I
what
could
Billy.
watch this movie again.
You guys got to see what Billy Bob Thornton wore to a premiere for this event. He wore a black cutoff shirt with just silver chains. He looked like a guy that I saw on the subway the other day asking me to buy his hip hop album.
The
and-
whole
and
time
follow
we've
him
been
on
doing this
Instagram.
episode, I have my IMDb page up and I'm seeing like clips of them being interviewed, and he's sitting next to the girl who plays his daughter, and he has on like a really short shirt and like a tank top, like arms with like his and like a bandana, like a black bandana with a bowler hat on top, and his tattoos are showing. I mean, God, he's fucking ridiculous.
Really
I love
just-
him so much.
I'm really just. I'm just going with the guy from Coda for that. I can't find it, but it's.
You know what? He's not. I think it's Wagner Maura. Was the
No,
guy's
damn
name
it, it's not him.
Laszlo Sousa.
Yeah,
Was
it's
that
gotta,
the character's name?
Yeah, it's got to be.
All right. We saw him in Narcos.
Okay.
We saw him in. That's it. That's what we saw, man.
Does somebody-
Elysium. Anyway,
Does somebody have a
I thought it was
plane?
that guy too, Jeff.
Does somebody have
Alright.
a plane landing outside their window?
I don't think so.
No, I think the little fan in my computer may have come on.
Maybe
very
they nuked
lightly.
the story.
Okay,
I don't
cool.
know.
I hope the audience doesn't hear that. Dave, thank you for
Enjoy.
filtering that out. All right, friends. Well, that is the end of our episode about the Gray Man. Please, if you disagree, come at us like this person who came at us with the strangest take recently the other day that isn't listening this far into our episode for sure after that review that they gave us. But they seemed very angry about a take that one of you two had because I wasn't a part of that episode. But anyway,
it wasn't even a take. It was a question I asked during the discussion. It was like
And-
I asked a question and we didn't know the answer, and they kind of took offense at the fact that I asked, did Elvis like was the African American community fine
Yeah,
with
let's
him
just
taking
say,
their
yeah.
music? And that was literally like 2 minutes of the
I
show.
think I
I want to
remember-
say. And
I think I remember saying that there are a lot of members of apparently just for the voices of current day that there are certain, there's a part of the community that has voiced that
Yeah.
they do not feel as comfortable about him having, propagated that music and at that time. And she basically said, at the time, if you had done your research,
yeah, we should have done
the
our research.
African American musicians were very grateful that he had brought it to
first of
the
all-
center stage. And
First of all, I,
don't
want to
think
say,
Chuck-
if
I
you
don't
think
think
we're
Chuck
doing
Berry
fucking
loved it,
research,
personally. I don't think Chuck Berry loved it.
you have not listened to our show. Welcome, new listener.
Listen
Brent,
to me. You
strap
think I did a
yourself in.
fucking shred of
You know
research
what,
for this
listener?
episode?
You know what, listener? You know what? Oh yeah. That's what you
Second of
get.
all, if in a 55-minute whatever hour long episode, that is your takeaway, maybe we should send you a mirror.
Ooh.
Look, we're always just we're trying to be a little responsible here. It was a question
No,
worth
fuck
raising.
that.
Nobody knows
Like,
the answer to that.
I
and
didn't know.
look,
I
it's-
asked a
We
question.
still loved and praised the movie.
It was a
so,
question
you know
worth
what?
taking. Exactly. So anyway, so now you know that we will respond and discuss even the strangest of takes that you could send at us. But let's go ahead and move into our final segment of today's episode. What you been watching? Dave.
What you been watching?
Oh, I have been watching Westworld season 4, the season we didn't know we were getting.
Ah, shit.
Dave, how is it being the only person that's watching this? How does
I haven't-
It's
it?
I'm watching
amazing. I
HBO
can
and
tell
they're not
so
even
many
begging me to
stories
watch
to my
it.
friends.
They made
Also-
it for you, Dave. They made it.
Do we know what's at the
Yeah.
center of the swirly thing yet?
No, but it has come up. Like, that is a symbol now. It's,
Of course
it's,
it comes up. That's the whole
it's-
show is
it's-
figuring out what the
no,
fucking
it's
swirly
not
thing
anymore.
is.
Keep watching.
Alright.
I should just go straight to season 4, actually. But
Yeah.
I'm also watching the Disney documentary Light and Magic, because of course I am. It's the documentary
Wait,
on
wait.
how they created Industrial Light and Magic.
Oh.
Is it newer? Is that a newer thing
It's
that they
brand
just
new.
put on there?
Like, came out like
Ooh,
last
I would
week.
watch
yeah.
that.
Sounds cool. I would
would definitely watch that.
Tonight,
yeah.
before the show, I watched Deadpool for fun because I hadn't seen Deadpool in a while.
Nice.
Number uno.
Yes.
Numero uno. Which one does he have the regular sized dick and the little
That's
legs?
number 2.
Is that number 2?
Yeah.
Oh my
They're all
God.
on Disney Plus now, which is hilarious.
They're on Disney Plus.
yes.
Oh no! How do you prevent your
Do they
children
have the
from
adult
watching?
There was
feature
the
for
thing
that?
sent out to everyone who had an account saying if you want to limit your account to like PG stuff,
What's the name?
do this now.
What's the name of his elite group of superheroes? that all
X-Force.
Die?
Dude, that is the best
Else
fucking
would-
that's the best practical joke ever. Because X-Force is a real thing. It was a whole series of comics, and they're like, yeah, we're doing X-Force in this movie. And they did like a
God,
9-month
so funny, dude.
campaign about how they're going to feature X-Force, and they like die 5 seconds in their first mission. It's hilarious.
That was really funny.
It's amazing.
That was good.
Hilarious.
I think about in Westworld. Never forget it. I don't think about Westworld. John, what's up?
Yeah.
You.
Shut up. Yeah. I had a big week of movies. I watched because it was it's been on Criterion for a long time, so I had a lovely rewatch, and I got to share them with Elizabeth for the first time. The Richard Linklater Before series.
Oh my
Before
god, that's on my
Sunrise.
list. Oh my god, I've
Yeah.
never seen them, and I know that I will love them.
Oh, I think you would really love them. I think everybody should watch them. I think most people would love them. I think Jeff Foster Mueller would really love those movies.
That's my last name.
So that was
people.
lovely. That was lovely. And then, like I said, after yesterday, we watched Great Man, and then I just couldn't help think about the Bourne movies. So we just said, fuck it, let's go. So we watched number 1 and number 2. Remarkable. God, I love those movies, dude. Everything I was wanting from that kind of story, it just felt so realistic. And there is something magical that happens. No offense, Gray Man. There is something magical that happens when you create a realistic environment for like the spy games. It just feels like, oh my God, it's just immediately compelling because it seems like a real person that's trained that well could actually do that, and it's terrifying.
Yes.
So it was such a fun rewatch. I think we're about to watch Ultimatum tonight. So I'm excited.
Do it. And then watch the special features if you have access to them, because they're awesome.
Also, I will. One last thing that I really want to push, because I thought it was really beautiful, and we're not totally done with the series yet. Ethan Hawke was approached to direct a documentary, and he ended up making a docu-series that's presented by CNN Films, and it's on HBO Max, called The Last Movie Stars. And it's about Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward, their life, their relationship, and the history of movies.
I love that. They're not the last movie stars, but I'd love that. Yeah.
He basically got in touch.
George
over the
Clooney and Brad Pitt are
pandemic.
movie stars. You know what I mean?
He got, yeah. Well, you'll understand why he coined it that way.
Okay.
But he basically got in touch with a bunch of his movie star friends over the pandemic, and they read as the characters when they're reading accounts from interviews, diaries, things like that. So it's really cool. You learn a lot about movies and movie history if you're into that kind of thing, and also just them and their relationship and their careers. Really compelling. It's been a really, really moving watch. I've enjoyed it a lot. I suggest it. Yeah.
Well, to fans of this show, they know that Chloe is very picky of what movies we get to watch together, but she really wanted to watch School of Rock.
Oh my God.
Hey.
And if anybody in who knows anything about theater, Alex Brightman came to this intensive that I was working at last week to do a Q&A, and he was in Beetlejuice on Broadway. He plays Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
he was
he's like I stan Alex Brightman a lot.
Yeah, and he was also the Jack Black character in School of Rock on Broadway. So
I
he's
saw it
breaking for
twice.
him, so. And he's amazing, and I think he's fantastic. I'd met him before all of this stuff happened. I wish I knew that he was going to be so successful. But anyway, so we were all about
You
it,
fucking
and
mooch.
I love
You fucking leech.
It's funny because Chloe even knew. She was like, she doesn't even know my Toy Story rants, but she was like, you're gonna go on. She was like, you're gonna go on the podcast and say that the premise is too crazy. You're gonna say the premise is too crazy, and I was like, you're right. That's all I want to say is that he goes to the school for 3 weeks and he doesn't teach a single math class. He only teaches about rock bands. Yeah, I think the premise is a little
Brightman
crazy.
could pull off the Nick Cage character in your musical?
Ooh, yeah.
Oh my God! I just kicked out my That was ominous. Is that like the opposite of a light bulb moment? Is that my fucking? Did you notice that my ring light just went out? I fucking.
These are your dreams.
My ring light just went off, and Dave just said that.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
Meant to be.
Okay. Anyway, so School of Rock is really fun. It's Richard Linklater's great, but it's all Jack Black, man. What he does in that movie. Anybody else, everything else the same could have tanked that movie. So
Quick little anecdote. At USC, in our structure of screenwriting design class, we watched School of Rock for our comedy. That was the one that they chose.
And did they say if you want a
it.
comedy, cast Jack Black? I don't care how good your script is.
Just the structure's tight. It's fun. It's entertaining. You know exactly where you're going the whole time.
And it
no
ends.
false expectations.
It ends right. If it went on any longer, even people who love the premise would have been like, guys, you got to start teaching math. You can't keep getting away with this.
Jeff, we both watched, and this is a good little. Hey, people who care about movies and the context of the business and stuff. Richard Linklater, who I was just talking about. Was able to support himself to continue making movies like the other two before the last two, number 2 and number 3 of the Before series, because he fucking made a movie like School of Rock to have some fun with an audience and pay for his fucking houses.
I listened to a pod with him, and he said he actually turned it down originally because he was like, that's not his kind of comedy. And they said they already have Jack Black involved. Like, it's basically like, we got this good script and we have Jack Black. Like, this is a fucking breeze for you. We just need a director. And you can have fun because some of those opening sequences where they put in the names of all the characters, like, as they're going to the concert ahead of, you know what I mean? Just like stupid little like things that directors love to do. They like, as opposed to like letting a studio come up with some production, you know, like to just like have the neon sign next to the person ripping tickets say like directed by Richard Linklater, like stupid things that indie filmmakers would love. They let him do in this kind of movie to like put his own stamp on
sequence,
it.
Dude.
And then you go to the
He's
bed and
trying
it's
to
Adam Pascal from Rock. Yeah.
Just so funny.
And then he jumps off the stage and no one catches him. Yeah, it's so good. It's so
All right.
good.
Adam Pascal.
All right, people, thank you so
Well-
much for tuning in. Next week, we're doing Bullet Train, and we're going to be way more positive on it. I know it.
Brad Pitt wears a bucket hat.
Sold.
Just like The Big Short. Okay, see you guys.